So guys, welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to talk about Atletico de Madrid. I don't usually talk about them. I do talk about Barça, I talk about Real Madrid. So I talk about La Liga, the Copa del Rey. And today was the final Copa del Rey match. Atletico de Madrid beats Real Betis, Anthony's Real Betis 5-0. Just absolutely destroys them. 3-0 in the first half. Another 2 goals in the second half to close it out. And just a all-around great game for Atletico de Madrid that up until recently has been kind of struggling. They had a better form in the beginning of the season, dropped. I think they're like 11 points behind first place in La Liga. So their La Liga campaign is all but over. They're 4 games behind, basically. And that's a lot to ask for both Real Madrid and Barcelona to lose. You as Atletico de Madrid would have to win out and hope that both of those teams drop 4 results in the rest of La Liga, which the 4 results from both of them, that's tough. Like one of them, maybe. Both of them dropping 4 results each and then Atleti winning out, the chances are very slim. So what does Atleti have left in Spain? They lost in the Super Cup, obviously, in the semifinal. All they have left is the Copa del Rey, and they did it stupendously. Obviously, they also have the Champions League, but in Spain, the Copa del Rey is basically all that's left for them. They're basically now competing to stay in the top Champions League spot in La Liga for next season, basically. So they're in 2 cup competitions, and in this one, they destroyed their rival in quarterfinals, Real Betis. So now we have officially 4 teams left in Copa del Rey. But what I wanted to talk about today was Ademola Lookman, one of 3 transfers that Atleti have done in this transfer window, and all 3 of them coming basically the last day of the transfer market. They waited until the last possible moment and signed 3 players at once. So in total, the 3 players they signed: Rodrigo Mendoza, a midfielder from Elche for 16 mil. Obed Vargas, another midfielder, this one from the MLS, from Seattle Sounders. And finally, Ademola Lookman from Atalanta on a permanent deal. So 3 signings to end the winter transfer market, and very successful. Today, let me see how many of them played. For sure, Lookman played, because that's who we're going to be talking about today. But I wanted to see who else they had. Obed Vargas played today. He came in on the 80th minute, basically. And Rodrigo Mendoza came in the 67th. So there you go. So all 3 of their signings played today. But the most important one, obviously, was the starter, Ademola Lookman, who today started as a replacement for Julian Alvarez. Because Julian Alvarez didn't start today. Let's move it over here. Today, Griezmann started. And I guess Griezmann, you could say, is more the Julian Alvarez substitution, right? But at the same time, last season it was Griezmann and Julian. So Lookman also is a Julian replacement. So today, Simeone opted for these 2 players. Now, if you're signing Lookman, then it means something, because you have Sorloth, you have another striker, and you have Julian. You have Griezmann. Griezmann's probably going to leave at the end of the season, maybe. But it means that Julian is probably going somewhere. And we all know where we think he's going to go. Let's see if he ends up doing it. But as for Lookman today, I wanted to talk about him because he was a Barcelona target. He was linked with Barca all of the summer transfer window before the season started. It was Luis Diaz, it was Nico Williams, it was Ademola Lookman, and it was Marcus Rashford. In the end, we ended up getting Marcus Rashford. Leao was one of them too, but Leao is a little bit more complicated. But I wanted between Lookman and Rashford. Honestly, Nico Williams, I would have loved him, and I thought it was going to be secured. Finally, didn't get him. I was okay with it. The person that I really wanted was Rashford. I wanted Lookman, and obviously Luis Diaz, I didn't want Luis Diaz because he's in the older side. He was very expensive coming out of Liverpool, and I couldn't imagine Luis Diaz being a project for the future. Lookman is 28 years old. He's not that much younger. I would have liked Nico. We ended up getting Rashford also around that age, 28, 29. So it's okay. But Lookman was definitely one of those targets. And today he had a great game. They give him an 8.4 on FOTMob. It's, I guess, deserved 8.4. I would go further. They're giving Hanko man of the match. Hanko had a good game. Defensively, he was amazing. And even on the attacking side, he had a goal. But not only that, he was one of the transition players. Like he would recover the ball and play it into a dangerous situation almost right away. So I guess I can see why Hanko got man of the match. But Lookman had a really good game. Let's begin with what he did on the ball. On the ball, he was associating with his teammates more than I've ever seen an Atleti team associate. Today, they played so combined, so many touches. They looked like, honestly, like they were playing tiki-taka football against Betis, who honestly just couldn't see the ball, had a terrible day. This is the competition that they went against today was just, it's embarrassing, really. Betis' performance, absolutely embarrassing. And it made Atleti look like a crazy team. But at the same time, I want to credit a little bit of it to Ademola because he was the one who was kind of the player in the middle of everything. You know, they'd play here in this section with him, and it was ding, 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 right? There was a lot of give and goes with Lookman so that he would always end up with the ball. And there were moments in the game where, and I watch Atleti a lot. I don't talk about them too much on my channel, but I watch them a lot. And there was a moment where I was noticing he was doing things that Atleti wouldn't usually do, where there was a possible transition for like a long pass. He'd just give it to the player right next to him, kind of draw their mark, right? Draw their pressure. They'd give it back to him, and then he would find space. He tried to dribble a lot through people, and he did it successfully. He was patient when he needed to be. Obviously, at that point, it was already 3-0, 4-0 when the situation I'm thinking about right now. But just overall, Lookman was pretty much determining the rhythm on attack for a lot of the first half. He had a lot of chances, and honestly, he looked really good. He looked really good on the dribble, on the 1v1s. He was spectacular. His finishing was good. He had a few chances, but if you see, he had an assist and a goal. Like, he was extremely involved in this game today. He was good on the counter, right? In open space, he's amazing because not only can he go really fast, but also sometimes he decides, no, I'm not going to go fast in this situation. I'm going to slow down so my teammate can overlap me and we create an attack in numbers. So honestly, very, very positive. It's a little bit of a shame, man, because I felt like maybe this summer we could have gone for Lookman. I guess we ended up opting for Rashford, and I like Rashford. But what I saw today from Lookman is very positive, and it's something that I think it's mostly mental. Lookman looked extremely confident in his ability, and I mean, you get a lot of confidence when the team you're on, the coach, your new coach, puts you as a starter in a quarterfinal of a cup game over what is arguably the biggest star in Atleti, which is Julian Alvarez. Julian didn't even get a minute today. Maybe they're resting him. Maybe there's a little bit of drama. Maybe they know they might have to get rid of him at some point. I would like to see Lookman and Julian at the same time. That'll be a very interesting thing to see. And I think we're going to see that in the Champions League. That's going to be huge. Atleti with two new midfielders and now world-class, I would say, attacker in Lookman. He has proved in that final of the Europa League versus Xavi's Bayer Leverkusen that he is a superstar. He could be a superstar. He proved it in the African Cup with Nigeria. And he's just been a really good player for Atalanta. He made a step forward, joining La Liga, joining a Champions League, every year Champions League team, and one that usually competes up until quarterfinals usually, and sometimes can go further. I think with this squad, Simeone has no excuse. There are also a lot of rumors that Simeone might be on his last year. They recently re-signed his son for a long-term contract, I think 3 more years or 4 more years. So that's huge. but I don't know if he's gonna last that long. And Atleti, if they're building for the future, they just got 3 new players off the winter transfer after bringing in a lot of other players in this recent transfer. I think Hanko was one of them. Baena's another one. I have it here. Let me look at it. So, yeah, so they got Lenglet from Barca in the summer. They got Nico Gonzalez from Juventus, but he's on loan. They got Santiago Mourinho, which I've barely seen him play, from Alaves. Hanko came from Feyenoord, so he's new. Pubil came from Almeria, another defender. So those are 4 defenders and a winger. And Nico Gonzalez kind of plays as a defensive winger sometimes. Raspadori came in the summer, and they traded him out, I think, right now. I think either he's on loan or they just sold him. But basically, he lasted 6 months. That's crazy, actually. And then the 3 new signings today. I mean, this week or whatever, or last week. So a lot of movements. Today you see Pubil, Hanko. The year before was Ruggeri. Baena's new. Barrios, I'm not sure how long Barrios has been there. Musso is practically new, like 2 years ago. And Lookman. So a lot of new players, a lot of new faces for Simeone, for Atletico de Madrid. Almada played today. He's also a new signing from the summer, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, look, Josema played. I didn't even realize it. I was just... You stop realizing who's on defense when a team with this midfield and this attack, the way they played today, it was absolutely incredible. Really good. So, yeah, just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about Ademola Lookman, because now he's long-term. I think they signed him. Let's see. It doesn't say, but I think they signed him for 4 years, till 2030. So that's huge, man. A huge gain for Atletico de Madrid. Let's see him in Champions League. But really good. Today he was spectacular. And it's just a shame that maybe he could have ended up in Barca. But at the same time, this is a hint that maybe Julian might be on his way out. And we all know that his number 1 goal and Barca's number 1 goal are each other. So we'll be looking at that in the summer. For now, we got to focus on this year. And I think Atleti is making more moves and more important moves and more decisive, efficient moves than both of La Liga's top contenders, Real Madrid and Barcelona. Let's see what it translates to, because they're really far off in La Liga. They have this cup to compete for. They have Champions League to compete for. They still have 2 games, one versus Barca, one versus Madrid. And who knows if Barcelona gets drawn with Atleti for the semifinals like they did last season. Before I go, though, actually, let's look at the Copa del Rey and who's left. So remember, they still have to do a draw. The draw is tomorrow. On Friday, I'll make another video about it. But right now, as far as it goes, Barcelona, Real Sociedad, Atletico de Madrid, and Athletic Bilbao are through to semifinals. Who are the teams that I, as a Barcelona fan, want to avoid? Are these 2. I hope Atleti and Real Sociedad can eliminate each other, just have a really tough series against each other, and Barca can basically dominate Bilbao in the first leg, so the second leg they can be more chill. It's what Barca needs above anything, because they need to rest players, they need to rest for La Liga, they need to rest for the Champions League. They have a lot of players that are injured right now, and it would be good if Barcelona got a really easy matchup with Bilbao instead of any of these giants. I think either of these, I think both of them could give us a hard time, and I think Atletico de Madrid has a really good chance of eliminating a team like Barcelona. Now, for football, it would be great. If I'm looking at it outside of a fan lens, Atleti Barca for 2-game series would be epic. It would be amazing to watch. And then whoever makes it through would be a just finalist. I don't think Barcelona deserves it over Atletico de Madrid just because of their name. They'd have to earn it. So that'd be interesting to watch. But as a Barca fan, of course, I want to avoid those 2 teams. But let's see what happens, man. That's all I got for today. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out. Remember to comment, subscribe, and like the video. All right, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.